Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up and watching. For the few people who came today, thank you. Small crowd today. That's okay. It is the middle of the day, middle of the week. We have a small crowd today, but I'm glad you're watching at least, which is amazing. I'm here. It's Zugibe Vineyards, I believe. We are in Geneva, New York, which is in Seneca County. I believe we're at stop number 42 or 43. I've actually forgotten. I keep losing count of how many places I'm going to. I think we're at 43 of 62 counties. Yes, I'm here again, rock and rolling. And why am I here in a local vineyard in upstate New York? It's to show the most important part of what the Libertarian Party stands for when it comes to business. There are so many people who will tell you, oh, you libertarians, you're all about big business, Absolutely the reverse is true. Completely not true. We are the only group of people, the only party, the only movement that cares about small business and entrepreneurs. This is another vineyard in New York State. And there are many, but not just vineyards. There's also breweries, tons of them, many. When did that begin to happen heavily in New York State? You're going to be surprised when I say, when did it happen? When we began to deregulate and allow entrepreneurs to be entrepreneurs. When we backed off on some of the distilling rules to allow people to distill and to create their own wines and their own beers here in New York State. And what happened? Tons of vineyards, tons of breweries, craft breweries in New York State, to where there are many New Yorkers who will go to a local bar or a pub and order a beer, and they will happily, eagerly, on their own, drop $1 or $2 extra for a bottle of beer because they know it's locally brewed. They care about that in my state. It's very common. You'll see it often. Some people will grab the Coors or the Michelob or whatever, but some will actually grab a New York brewed beer. And I love that. It's voluntary, it's community-based, people care about it, and it's amazing. Why do I bring this up now? Because my state's in trouble, our country's in trouble. And what we're doing now is we're ensuring, through this terrible response to COVID, which both Republicans and Democrats agree with, that the big businesses stay open and keep growing, and the local businesses get crushed. So the local drugstore can't stay open, or the local, lumber store can't stay open, but Walmart and Home Depot can. This is what's helping to crush small businesses throughout the country and in my state. So how do we fix this? By supporting small local businesses. That's how you do that. Well, most people, if you ask them, a Democrat, Republican, how are you going to support small businesses? We're going to support small businesses. How? By supporting them. That's not a plan. That's not an action. What do I actually want to do here? I want to legalize cannabis. I want to legalize all forms of alcohol. I want to, and on top of that, I want to let dairy farmers be actual small business owners. You might say, wow, those three? Yeah, specifically for my state, but for others. How do I fix that? Number one, there's a law in Wyoming right now. Wyoming has a farm law that says if you want to sell your products to farmer only within Wyoming, that's all, you are immune from all federal regulatory bodies. Done. Why can't we copy that to every single small business in our states? Everyone. You're a small business in New York State, just agree with me. Don't apply for a license and then have to get it okayed by your local. No. Just sign a sheet of paper. Yes, I agree. I will only sell within New York State. Well, that's tough for internet companies. That's true. But if you're not an internet company, why not? If you're a diner, if you're a local winery, if you're something like that, fine. But what if you also sell online? Just make two separate companies. One is the online presence. One is your local presence. The local presence is immune from all federal regulatory bodies. And I might say, but Larry, that might be dangerous. Maybe, but then don't buy from it. If you don't trust it, don't buy from it. It's okay. But if you trust it, if you want to go and get your raw milk or your locally grown organic apples, or you want to go get something that you care about, go buy it. Why would you have to follow federal regulatory guidelines when you're only selling locally? Immediately, that gives a small business owner an advantage over a big business, which already has many other advantages. It begins to make the playing field more equal. But Larry, what if that small business owner now wants to start selling across state lines? No worries. They can prepare themselves and grow to a point to where they can now deal with the regulatory issues when and if they're ready. Or they create an online presence. separate company, online presence, and then that one follows whatever guidelines are required. This is an actual plan to assist small businesses in New York State. I would ask you, what Democrat or Republican speaking that way? None. Only libertarians think this way. We're the ones who think how to actually support a business like that. I said regulate cannabis like onions. Maybe not onions, maybe some other vegetable. I don't care which one. But I meant that so that any farmer can then begin to sell cannabis, raise a cash crop. Farmers in my state and across the country are being punished like there's no tomorrow. They're being punished. Big farmers are taking over everything. Well, what would happen if all of a sudden now you as a local farm could grow cannabis and sell it? Look at that. Hemp and sell it. Hempcrete, hemp rope, hemp clothes, hemp cloth, whatever the thing is, or cannabis products for sleep or for recreation or for whatever. And I mean for whatever you want. What would happen? The same as the breweries. Breweries in New York City are doing well. Well, prior to COVID, they are. I don't know if they still are now. But prior to the COVID response, they were doing great. They were popping up all over New York State. Why wouldn't we have craft grows? You tell me a New Yorker who would happily pay an extra $2 for a bottle of beer wouldn't pay an extra $1 for a specialized cannabis product? But not just that. If you regulate like onions, your guy right now who's selling you cannabis, your dealer now, can still be your dealer tomorrow. But now he'd pay regular business taxes. He just get himself a license, an LLC or whatever the case may be, an LLC or S Corp. And the old saying, if you like your dealer, keep your dealer. Why wouldn't you? Right? Now all of a sudden he can use courts. He can sue people. He can, now you can feel even safer about that person's product. What's wrong with your cannabis dealer still being the same person? This is how we support small business. And do not make it to where if you have, and this is in so many states, if you have a felony conviction or if you have a drug charge, that you can't be in the cannabis business. How stupid is that? These are the people who know the most about the field. So you're literally hurting the industry by taking away its talent and not letting people who need a job to go into a field that they know. All of a sudden now, again, we're rock and rolling and we're supporting more local businesses. But I'm still not done. What about dairy farmers? Right now in New York State, dairy farmers are price takers and not price makers. They allow the federal government to basically just give them whatever they can, and they suffer and they suffer and they scrape and they hope that they can possibly get something done. Now, treat all farmers in New York, specifically those who are dairy farmers, but this works for cannabis also, all farmers like small businesses in every way. What do I mean by that? That means all of their taxes begin to go down. Not just that, all their insurance begins to go down. And yes, I'm still not done. They're also available for small business loans. Not having to have a land loan, a loan upon their land, which just delays their inevitable death. Instead, they can also get the best part, investors. Now, if I already got craft brews and I got craft grows, why in the world couldn't I then have craft yogurts and craft cheeses and craft ice creams? Of course. And if you allow them to sell only locally with that other law, the farm law, the small business law, no federal regulatory bodies. If you sell locally and the individual people locally can go to their farms that they trust. And they saying, Larry, wait, this is food going into your body. You sure you want to have that kind of law for that? Yeah. Yeah. Without federal guidelines, people will die. First off, I want to ask you, you look at a health food store, look at a natural food store. Those aren't regulated by the FDA. Barely regulated by the FDA. Where are all the deaths from those stores? They don't exist. All those natural food stores, health food stores, the healthiest people shop in those stores. And I don't see a massive deaths, but the FDA, those FDA-approved drugs have killed and maimed millions of Americans. And what has been the consequences? None. None. But when a health food store makes a mistake or has a problem, off the shelf goes the product, and there's actual recourse for the actual person who was harmed. Yeah, let's go back to that. That makes more sense to me. That's how our farmers locally should work. We do that. Now we have craft yogurts and craft ice creams, craft cheeses. We see it already happening. It'll happen again. But here's the best part. What if you don't want to have craft yogurts? You just want to be a dairy farmer. You don't want to do all that cool stuff. Larry, I don't want to make craft this or craft. I just want to be a farmer. Okay. If you got a bunch of New York farmers who are making craft yogurts and craft ice creams and craft cheeses, there'll be less milk on the market in general, so your price goes up. You don't have to have a degree in economics to figure that one out. I don't have to be a Mises guy to figure that one out, right? That's simple. So even the farmer who just wants to, be a dairy farmer, and that's it, even they will have higher prices. I'm talking about things that will help New Yorkers now. I talked about it 2-3 years ago. I'm talking about it now because it's even more important now. We're in trouble economically in my state, probably in your state too. And nobody else is speaking about this outside of the Libertarian Party. No one else has actual answers outside the Libertarian Party. So why does it matter to you? This year, vote gold. If you want to hear more ideas like this, if you want to hear more ideas that will help our state, our country, small business entrepreneurs like this, you have to vote gold this year. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell the people around you, you've got to vote gold this year. Jo Jorgensen is our presidential candidate. Vote for her this year, and every single libertarian you can find on your ballot. Win, lose, or draw. Why? Larry, we're not going to win. Okay, maybe not. I don't know who's going to win in your individual town or county. Does it matter if the libertarian wins or not? Of course I want them to win. I'm blatantly biased. I want all libertarians to win, of course. But even if they don't, the more votes we get, the more valuable we are, the more credible we are when we speak, the more people will see us. We need that now. Vote gold. Vote gold this year. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.